Hello, everyone. I am so excited to work on the character for today. Now, this little doll that I got her at a local shop that is a dollhouse shop. And of course, this is going to be Marilyn Munster, and she is just the perfect doll for the part. I mean, you can see she's already got the blonde hair, she's got a really pretty face and blue eyes. She has like the most perfect pair of shoes, the white shoes. Don't have to do anything to that. So she's only thing I got to do to her. I think I will darken her lips a little bit, and then I am of course going to be cutting the hair. So to start with the outfit, I've got this perfect uh, fabric. I mean, this is some very old fabric. And I went ahead and cut this little strip and I stitched it across the bottom to make a little hem. This is going to become her skirt. I just thought this fabric looked so Marilyn. It makes a perfect little 60s style dress. And this actually is off of a skirt from the 60s. I mean, that's where this fabric literally came from, is a dress from the 60s. And, well, a skirt. And I've got it right here. It's got a little waist in it with some belt loops and stuff. This is an actual skirt, and it's in bad condition, so I didn't feel bad about cutting it up. Now for the top of the dress, I've just folded over a piece of fabric. Just folded that over, and I've made just a little stitch right here across and then down, and then same thing on this side, just across and down. And then I've just cut out a little square neckline, and I painted over this with some Mod Podge just so these edges don't fray. They are frayed just a little bit, but I'm going to snip that away later. But the Mod Podge just helped it from fraying, because I didn't want to try to hem that tiny little sleeve, or I definitely didn't want to try to hem around that tiny little neckline. I'm not very good at sewing tiny things. So let me grab some scissors. All right, so I'm gonna take the scissors and I'm going to cut pretty close to the stitch, but not too close. You don't want it to come out there. So let me snip that up. Alright, so there's that. There's her little top. And of course it's not going to be this long. I'm going to cut it across there, but I'm just making it plenty long enough because I want it to come down. I'm going to put the skirt on over this, but I've went ahead and I split it down the back, so I'm going to flip it right side out. And I might need to get my tiny little tweezers to help with this. Alright, so I've got it turned right side out, and it's going to be pretty snug. Alright, we're going to have to pull our little top off here because we're going to have to work on her. I was trying to be a gentleman and keep her covered up, but alright, so anyways, we got it out here, and we're going to slide it on, and I think I got it just a, well, wait, there's one thing I want to do before I put it on, because once it's on, it's on. I'm not taking it back off. I want to snip off those little stray threads here, and I just think that would be easier before I put it on. Alright, that looks pretty cute, I think. Alright, now put it on. Alright, now it's, like I said, I think I got it a little bit smaller than I probably should have, but I think it's going to go on her. As long as it goes on good, looks good in the front, and then put it in the back. Just glue it. Might be easier to have her arms up. Let me turn her head so her hair ain't in the way. We've got the Exorcist going on here, but it will meet, and barely. It'll barely meet. What I think I'm going to do is cut a little strip of this fabric, and I'm going to glue it on her back. And then I'm going to glue that over on it so you don't see the gap between it where it's not wanting to meet. And that actually looks pretty good. So once that's done, I think it'll be okay. So then, you know, her dresses were pretty fitting. They were, I don't want it to be loose, so I don't mind it being a bit snug. So that's looking pretty cute. And then I can actually cut it way down here. I don't want it to be so short that it pulls up out of the skirt, so I'm going to keep it kind of long. And I'm just going to snip it off like way under here. And let me get a prettier piece cut for the back there. I'm just going to snip it out of this piece here. All right. All right, so now I'm going to glue that like I just showed you and get it all glued shut. And then I'll put her skirt on, and then we will be pretty close to done with this because, again, there's not much to do with her. Now, of course, she's going to get a few little details, and we'll get to those once I get this glued on. All right, so there's what it looks like, and that's actually super cute just like that. Of course, she didn't wear a dress that short, but that's actually a really cute little 60s looking dress. Of course, the back's a little revealing, but you can sort of see how the back looks. You can't really tell that I pieced it back there with that little insert piece. And again, the waist, everything below the waist is going to get covered with the skirt, so it looks really good so far. And the sleeves are pretty cute. And then it looks pretty good. So now I'm just going to take a little thread and hand stitch around all across the top here, and then just draw that in. And I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to run in here and sew this on the sewing machine, a little stitch to get the back of it put up, and then I may just run a machine stitch around the top too while I'm at it. All right, so I stitched the back up by hand, and then I decided to just go ahead and hand sew it around the waist. So I'm going to flip it right side out, and then I'll take that little thread there, and I'm just going to sew it up. Just do a stitch all the way across the top. Now I've got all the way around the top, and then I'm going to slide her in. Well, all right, I'll get it here in a minute, I think. All right, so just put it up around her waist, and then we're going to draw that little string in. And then I'll gather it pretty. I'll kind of pull it around like it needs to be. So let me fiddle with this till I get it right how I want it, and then it's going to look pretty freaking cute. All right, so here's what she looks like, and that is so perfect. So one more thing I want to do to the dress is put a little belt around it. She didn't really wear a lot of belts. I noticed in some outfits she does have a belt, but most of the time she doesn't. But this is to help kind of hide that raw edge of the skirt. Now I kind of like the look of this, but I don't know, I kind of don't, because like I said, you didn't really see her with a belt. But I do like this one because it's going to give me that little cap to cap off that raw edge, but it's also going to be a little less in your face like that dark green. I kind of like this one the best, but I don't know. Do I like this one, or do I like this one? I'm going to sit here and glue one on, and then you'll just see. Oh gosh, that looks so good. That one really looks good. But I don't know. I'm going to make up my mind, and then I'll come back in the next clip. Boop. All right, so I went with the lighter color because, like I said, I feel like it looks better. I didn't like it looking so bold with that darker green. I think she looks really pretty. Now we've got to do something with that wild hair. The back of it actually looks really good too. But let me go ahead and cut her hair. Now there's a certain way I gotta kind of hold it down here and get an idea of what I'm doing. So, let me see. I'm gonna have to like hold it a certain way. I don't want to. I don't know. Let me see. I'm gonna cut it just a little bit at a time. I'll do a little bit right here on camera, but I kind of want to cut up into it just a little bit. I don't want to go straight across because then it's gonna look cut. So I'm just going to take little bits at a time. Cut it at an angle. Now, of course, Marilyn, they always joked and said Marilyn was the ugly family member because, you know, they were all monsters. And that was kind of the joke in the show that Marilyn wasn't the pretty one. I like cutting hair, actually. I could, I feel like I do this pretty good. I've cut so many doll hair uh, things that I've got pretty good at it. It's already looking better. You can see she's getting that little short bob. Well, not really a bob. I don't know what she had. But again, I want to go a little bit at a time. I don't want to take too much off and then not be able to, you know, fix it. And since it's curly, when I pull it down, I got to remember when I let go, it's going to kind of go back up a little bit. So and then I'm just kind of roughly doing this. I'm going to get her closer to me later where I can like work with it better and kind of finish it up, but I'm just getting the bulk of it off of here right now. And I might need to get a little comb or something for here because this doll's hair has never been pulled out or combed out at all. So a lot of them curls are just kind of up in there. All right, I want to be careful with her dress because where I glued it, it's still got wet glue on it, and I don't want to mess her dress up. All right, so let's just kind of look at it. I'm going to have to get me a little comb or a little brush out and work with it better, but it's already looking much better, much more like Marilyn. Look how freaking cute that is. Now, the first Marilyn will almost always had a headband. So I'm going to make a matching headband out of that same green ribbon. And I'm going to put that up here, kind of like somehow. I'm going to have to figure out how it's going to stay there. I think sometimes her hair, like she had some bangs or something going on. So I'm going to pull some of that down and then put the headband on and let some of that hang down like little bangs. So that looks pretty freaking cute. But I'll get it worked out perfect. And then she's got to get her little lips painted, and then I've got one little prop for her. So I'll get all that done here in just 1 second. Now the last thing I want to do is take my tiniest little brush and give her a little bit of a darker lip. I hope I can do this without making them too big, but I'm definitely going to go off camera to do it real quick, and then when we come back, we'll look at her, which we're already looking at her, but we'll look at her with her little prop that I made. Wait till you see what I've made her. All right, so here she comes around. I love her dress. It looks so 60s. It looks just like something Marilyn would wear. I think the pattern, the fabric is just really good for the scale, like the little flowers and stuff that's on it. Because she wore a lot of big flowery dresses, a lot of big patterns and bold designs. but you can't really see the headband. I love her so much more in real life because you can see the details better. You can see that headband a lot better. I think this light is kind of drowning it out. It kind of makes it, you just kind of barely see it at all because of the way the light's hitting it. But it looks way cute in real life. This has probably been the simplest, easiest thing I've ever made on my channel. I mean, all I had to do is make a dress and cut the hair. She already had the perfect hair color, and she's got the perfect shoes. I noticed in pictures when I looked her up, she wore a lot of white shoes like that, so I didn't have to paint those or do anything. You know, Beverly Owen and Pat Priest were the two ladies that played Marilyn, and I've kind of based this on both of them. I know the first Marilyn was the only one that wore a headband, so it's more her than the second one, but it's in my design. I'm looking at both of them in my little figure that I've created. Um, oh, yeah, and then I got to show the little prompt. It is a book. I mean, not very exciting, but I didn't really know. I thought, what could a prop be? I thought all you ever really see her carry around her school books. So I made her a little book out of a piece of foam board and uh, what's that black stuff? Oh my god, construction paper. Golly, y'all are probably thinking, "Dang, this guy's losing it. He's never can think of anything." So anyway, she's super cute. I can't think of anything else that I wanted to say. I'm really happy with it. I can't wait to show the difference between her and Lily. They were the same doll, same face, same sculpt, everything was the same, but they don't look anything the same now. I love those little before and after pictures that I do sometimes, which I don't think I got one of her before I cut her hair or done all her little makeover. But anyway, she's super cute. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already so you can keep up with my Munster project, and I'll see you all in the next video.